Hey, and welcome to Tech Tips with Sold Out Media. I'm Amanda, and today I'm actually going to give you my 6-month or 3-month review of the Lumix S5 IIx. I actually am pleasantly surprised with this camera. I just tell you, it seems like such a simple camera. Like when you deal with Canon, it's like a lot of bells and whistles. Sony always has something massive. He does too. This little guy does too, but you know, it just seems so simplified. So we've been using this since the winter time, slowly reviewing it, really putting it through its paces. I used it to record an entire episode with Linus in Canada when we reviewed one of the backpacks. And again, hands down reliable, beautiful picture. I was super excited with this camera. But for your benefit, we always try to do, when we get our hands on new cameras, a certain set of tests, eye tracking, slow-mo, stabilization, so you can really see for yourself and judge for yourself, not just take my opinion for it. Look at the footage that we did and see if you like it. Again, I'm really objective. I like many different camera brands. I do have probably 8 times more Canons than any other camera on the planet, but I love playing with these guys. I love playing with all the camera brands. So without rambling on too much, let's take a look at what we got here. So first of all, I sent it out with Jake to do a stability test. We're going to do video, then we're going to do photos. Here we go, stability test. All right, so what I see here is the E stabilization and the Boost IS stabilization seem to be the best out of the stabilizations. When you put all of them on at once, it seems to go pretty crazy. When you look here at Jake running, I have 2 different opinions on this. In one sense, it does look like all stabilization seems more stable, but there's something about it that to me it doesn't look natural. I mean, if I was going to pick these 2, I would probably take the no stabilization and then try to stabilize it in post. That's just him running. Honestly, if you're going to go for a running shot and you don't want it to look like the Bourne Ultimatum, probably get a gimbal. But I think he did pretty well. Either way, stabilization or no stabilization, it performed fairly decent. In case you guys didn't know, if I didn't mention, I have the Sigma 24-70 2.8 f-stop lens on this guy. Reason being is I'm not super familiar with all of the lenses that Lumix provides, and I am actually really familiar with the Sigma. I have the Sigma for all the 3 brands that we've tested so far, Canon, Sony, and Lumix. So I'm familiar with what I should be getting out of it, and that's why I went with that particular lens. If you guys have any suggestions for me, I'd love to test some other lenses for this particular Lumix. Again, this is a full frame camera and it's excellent. I really enjoy it, so I'm going to be keeping it. So leave a comment down below if you're a Panasonic person. Give me some suggestions. All right, next I went on to a rack focus. Now this is super cool. I set this as a custom button on the back so I could bring it up at any time I like to. But what this is it allows you to select 3 different focal points. So I did a little test. I have these little Dala Hests, or like Swedish artistic horses from the north. And let me just go through quick the menu settings. So you see here, I'm setting the 3 focal points. I thought about it afterwards. I should have, like, instead of doing them in a row, I should have done like closest, furthest, middle, just to be more interesting, but I didn't do that. So I set the 3 focus points. Super easy to do. You can see here in the menu, you get the little line that tells you what your focal length is, and you just select position 1, 2, or 3 on the point when you get the focus in that you want. And then when you go, you touch each one on the touch screen, it just takes that particular focus. Okay, and then once you do that, like, just check it out. Awesome, huh? And so then the other thing that you can do in here is you actually have some other settings. You have transition speed, You have the ability to start the transition once you press record, and different wait times and position settings for everything. So I thought that was a super neat feature. I do know that you can do different focus stacking in Canon and Sony, but this made so much sense to me versus the other menus. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, and enjoyed it I could make it a quick button on my camera here. So I don't have to go searching through the menu. I just click on it, set my 3 focal positions, and do. There you go. You have no idea how many times doing food photography or food video. Nice. So nice. All right, so next thing we did, when you use an SSD drive on this camera, you open it up to a whole realm of menu options. In Apple ProRes, with the hard drive in, you have all the way up to just under 6K to whatever in RAW, in log, not RAW, sorry, in log. You can output a RAW image as well, I believe, to it, but I didn't try that. So here we go. Taking a look at it, here's the Apple ProRes at its highest resolution. Yeah, so and here's the MOV at its highest resolution. Now, you can get full 6K here with the MOV setting, and you could do that in log if you want to as well. I'll show you what that looks like. But I mean, this is beastie how much you can get out of this sensor. So it's a 6K sensor. You can use the whole sensor, and it has kind of a cropping function, or an open gate that you can use to crop in on the image wherever you want to. We'll go to that in just a sec, but I just wanted you to see here the difference in frame size between the Apple ProRes and the 6K. Like, you're actually getting so much more of the sensor with the 6K. And then you can have what's called pixel by pixel, and that gives you sort of a squarish image as well. So you see that. Now, I took the Apple ProRes and I did the log, and then I did the grade here just so you could have an idea of what that looks like. And then I did the MOV at 6K. So the ProRes again was just under 6K, 5.9K or whatever, and the 6K on the Apple, or on the MOV. Ah, that looks so nice. All right, and so here I'm just going to give it over to a quick view just so you can see in the menu what the crop looks like, or what the crop looks like in the edit. First of all, you can actually add the crop as a little feature here in the screen. You can set your grid to look like the 9:16 look instead of the 16:9 look, or whatever you want to actually have as your crop in, so you know more or less where you want that to be. All right, so then the other thing I have set as a quick button on this is I set the dual native ISO. So you have auto ISO, and then you have low dual native ISO and high dual native ISO. So auto dual native ISO, low, and high. So here we go. I did it with regular video settings with Jake here, with this nice sunset golden hour look. There you can see the low, and if you punch in there, you can see up in the corner here, you can see how much of that is noise in there. And then we did it with the vlog setting. So here it is, high with a grade, low with a grade, and auto with a grade. And the coolest part about this is, by the way, this was totally faked lighting. It wasn't actually sunset. It was dark outside. We missed sunset because we have kids. So just so you know. We waited for it to get a little darker, and we tried the extremely high ISO settings. Just so you can see here, we tried 1000, 64, all the way up to ridiculous 204,800 ISO. Insane, absolutely insane. And we actually were able to clean that up a little bit here in DaVinci. So I'll just leave that in there for you to see. But I mean, Incredible results with this video. Now, for the picture profiles, I handed it over to our friend Marcus. He did a little mini review, so here's a little mini review inside a review for you.
So the vlog is just amazing. You can shoot directly against the sun and still have good contrast and exposure on the face in this dawn rise clip we have right here. Moving on to Rex 709-like, I think this is the next best option instead of vlog, and I will definitely use this if I was a bit more run and gun and didn't have much time for grading. And if I was shooting indoors, I would use the Rec 709-like as well. But we also have this next one, which is D-Cine-like, which many have experienced before. I think it's too contrasty from the start and very lacking when it comes to dynamic range. It's a very user-friendly camera, and I really like the menu system that it has. Coming from the Blackmagic user interface, I find it a breeze to navigate through the menus, and it's much easier than the Sonys and the Canons that I've been using previously.
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, actually every single one of us got to play with this camera in some way or another. So it's been a fun camera. Everybody on the team really likes it. So this is actually Linus. He took it to a Renaissance fair and this is what he brought back for me. This is the slow-mo. Right? And then of course Jacob with our Muffin Man. It's almost like the human does better than the eye tracking. Bounce further. Towards me. There, it got you right away when you were nice and close. Didn't get you there. Nope. Yeah, it's almost like the human tracking does better. This has similar technology now in it to the Canons and the Sonys, where it has the phase detect autofocus. It isn't as tight as, say, like the Canon, but out in the field, I found it more reliable than the Sony that I just tested. And I know all you Sony fans, Sony's great. But it seemed to catch it more often. That doesn't mean that in all circumstances it was superior. But I just want to let you know, I did really like the Sonys too. It's not that. I don't say that. Stop leaving angry Sony comments. No. But this Lumix was really reliable. And here's a great example. I put it on animal eye detect. And check this out. These are a couple of brand new puppies. At this point here, I think they're 6 weeks old, and they're just adorable, but they never stay still. These photos all look like these guys are staying completely still. They are not. They are puppies, and they are moving at lightning speed. You know, we would no sooner get them to sit and step away, and I had about a quarter of a second to get the shot before they like got up and ran away. In particular, you can see this one here where this little guy is mid-run, ears flopping in the air, you know, like just ready to take off and lick the camera lens, which happened a couple times actually. But like it nailed the focus on this little pup every single time. So super reliable. And then I had another shot that really blew my mind, talking about autofocus. I was taking a picture of the flower and this bee just showed up. And I couldn't even believe the camera caught it like that, like it was nothing. And just when you zoom in, look how incredibly sharp the bee is. I was quite a distance away, you could see from the photo. So anyway, I was really impressed. Again, we've had this camera since earlier in the winter time, and we did some stabilization, trying to hold it, tested the microphone, but got these amazing photos too of these ice on the beach. Just check it out. Then just I was in Nova Scotia for a little bit. Here's some really iconic Nova Scotia photos. But just give you a little look here. I took them into Luminar and I had one underexposed here. I just did a little fix on that and it brought it up no problem. So the raw photos coming out of this camera have quite a lot of dynamic range to them. Here's one that I overexposed the background a little bit, and here we are. I was able to sort of bring it back to more even between the subject and the background. And then just for fun, I did a little bit of Luminar enhanced color on this these buoys here. And then check this out. So I'm gonna crop way in on this leaf. And again, just look how sharp this is. This camera has done an excellent job overall with all these photos. So, couple months into this camera, I just wanted to let you guys know these are our test results. You can look at them, make your own kind of decisions. I don't claim to do everything right all the time. Panasonic and Sony aren't my what do you call it, first cameras. More of a Canon person, so I'm way more familiar with Canon menus. But as a Canon user, my outlook on this guy here is phenomenal. I would definitely pick up another Panasonic Lumix camera and test them. And if you guys have any that you want us to test, leave a comment down below. We'll see if we can pick them up. If you want to see this up against any of the other cameras we've tested so far, let us know. We'll do a comparison with them. And yeah, in a nutshell, I really like this camera, and I can strongly recommend the Sigma 24-70s. I think that Sigma does a great job on all of the mounts for that particular lens. All right, I hope you guys liked. I hope you like and subscribe, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Keep in touch.